Welcome to TV Recaps. Today I will be recapping a psychological thriller. An unspeakable tragedy creates a rift in a couple's marriage and opens the door for a mysterious and sinister girl to enter their home. Before we start, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for our channel. Please sit tight and enjoy the recap of the TV show, Servant, Season 4. For recaps of Seasons 1 to 3, refer to link in description. Oh, and of course, spoilers ahead. The show begins with Leanne, babysitter of the Turner family, tidying up the house to welcome a wheelchair-bound Dorothy. Sean, Dorothy's husband, and Julian, her brother, is on the way to pick her up from the hospital. After Leanne leaves to get flowers from Julian's car, an intruder breaks into the house. She hits him in the head, runs out of the house, and locks herself inside the car. Cult members from the Church of the Lesser Saints surround the car and try to smoke Leanne out by clogging the car's exhaust pipe. She is suffocating from the fumes and starts to panic. Out of nowhere, a flock of pigeons appears and aggressively attacks the cult members, forcing them to retreat. Leanne returns home, just in time for Dorothy's arrival. Despite Leanne's attempt to welcome her back, Dorothy completely ignores her. Next morning, Sean leaves for work, leaving Leanne and Julian at home to take care of Dorothy. During lunch, Leanne brings Jericho, her son, to Dorothy's room, but will not give him to her unless she eats. After Dorothy has eaten, Leanne passes Jericho to her but promptly takes him away against Dorothy's wishes, heightening the tension between them. Shortly after, Sean receives Dorothy's call and rushes back home. He finds out that the entire street, including their house, is suffering from a bed bug infestation and fumigation is being carried out to kill the bugs. Dorothy comes down with a terrible itch. Sean's offer to help is rejected as she refuses to forgive him for taking Leanne's side. Courtney, Dorothy's father's girlfriend, visits and speaks privately with Dorothy in her room. Later at night, Leanne visits Dorothy and is shocked to see two elderly women in her room. Dorothy reveals that she has, with Courtney's help, hired two live-in nurses, Beverly and Roberta, to accelerate her recovery and protect her from Leanne. Leanne is certain the nurses are from the cult and urges Julian to carry out a more thorough investigation. Next morning, Julian sneaks into the nurse's room to look for evidence that could link them to the cult. However, Julian, besides a box of sex toys, fails to find anything suspicious in their room. Meanwhile, the nurses try to help Dorothy walk using crutches, which ends in failure. Desperate, Dorothy requests that the nurses try one of their alternative methods, a seance. Late at night, the seance begins with everyone holding hands. Leanne presents the dagger, which was used by cult members to hurt her, as a ritual item and confronts Roberta about her true identity. Leanne attacks and exposes her back to check if she is hiding flogging scars but did not find any. Halloween night arrives. Leanne embarks on a mission to hunt down her enemies, dressed up as a doll. Toby, Sean's assistant who has a crush on Leanne, insists on joining her for Halloween. Leanne chases him away, asserting that he is getting in the way of her mission. Toby leaves but another person in a similar Halloween costume starts following Leanne. The mystery person walks up to her and brandishes a knife. Unfazed, Leanne attacks and breaks his arm. Unfortunately, he is revealed to be a harmless boy who was trying to play a prank on Leanne. She returns home to find Sean waiting for her. He explains that he is grateful to Leanne for his success but is not willing to give up Dorothy in exchange for it. Leanne rudely interrupts Sean and says he needs to accept the consequences of the choices he has made. Sean finally starts to see her true colors and to reconcile with Dorothy, promises to do whatever it takes to get rid of Leanne. Next morning, the Turners receive a letter from the cult, requesting they return Leanne to them. The Turners suspect it is sent by their new neighbors and decide to host a cocktail party for them to facilitate Leanne's capture. During the party, the Turners spend their time scouting out who may be from the cult but come no closer to finding out. Desperate, Dorothy tells Sean to cut the power, hoping the cover of darkness will make it easier for them to act. Dorothy and Sean discuss their plan to get rid of Leanne, which she overhears. Leanne is horrified. While she is distracted, cult members attempt to grab her. The Turners stand by and watch as Leanne struggles against her captors. Suddenly, the house begins to shake violently, causing huge cracks to form throughout the house. After Leanne escapes her captors, the shaking stops immediately. In the aftermath of the earthquake, a giant sinkhole has opened up in the road. The whole family is shocked, except for Leanne. Sometime later, Leanne organizes a belated animal-themed birthday party for Jericho to make up for Dorothy's absence when she was hospitalized. In the kitchen, Dorothy and Sean realize their plan has failed and decide to enlist Julian's help. Sean tries to convince him that Leanne has supernatural powers and has been tormenting Dorothy since she returned home. Julian refuses to listen. As the group sings Happy Birthday, the animals start to run amok and a dog bites Leanne on the leg. Beverly takes her inside to clean up her wound. Unbeknownst to Leanne, Beverly is a cult member and takes this opportunity to put her to sleep and perform the ritual on her. Meanwhile, Sean and Julian get into a physical altercation but stop when they detect smoke in the room. Julian deduces that Leanne is being attacked by cult members in the basement and rushes down to save her. However, Beverly is already immobilized, and her body starts to swell until she collapses. The entire time, Leanne is staring angrily at Beverly, almost as if the swelling was caused by her. Sean and Julian make up after the fight, and Julian is finally convinced that Leanne possesses supernatural powers. That night, Dorothy finds an old news recording of herself interviewing an 8-year-old Leanne during the 2011 beauty pageant. Dorothy digs further into her past and discovers that her whole family died in a fire, but Leanne's body was never recovered. Dorothy finds out that Leanne, since their first interview, has been visiting her every year on the anniversary of her mother's death. Dorothy is disturbed by this discovery but also becomes more sympathetic of Leanne's condition. Meanwhile, Sean and Julian are visited by George, Leanne's uncle from the cult, who has decided to reveal the truth about her. He claims that Leanne is just an ordinary woman who developed an obsession with Dorothy as a child and saw her as the loving mother she never had. George claims that Jericho is the child of a deceased drug addict whom Leanne had found and would hide him in a secret tunnel whenever she wanted to punish the Turners. Sean and Julian are stumped by these revelations as they contradict their supernatural theories about Leanne. Later, George is seen flogging himself and asking for God's forgiveness for the lies he had told the Turners but explains that it is necessary to give them the strength to return Leanne to them. A violent thunderstorm rains down on Philadelphia. Leanne is convinced that the storm is God's attempt to punish her. She sticks her head out of the roof and laughs when lightning strikes close by her. Meanwhile, Sean and Julian devise a plan to get Leanne to the tunnel where George will be waiting for her. They grab her by force in the attic, tie her to a wheelchair, and present her to George. He tries to persuade Leanne to set the Turners free by ending her own life, as she is the only person strong enough to do it. George cuts Leanne loose and passes her the heated dagger for the ritual. However, Leanne stabs George and performs the ritual on him instead. In the kitchen, Sean hears Leanne walking up the stairs and picks up a knife for self-defense. Unexpectedly, a strong gust of wind blows him off balance, causing Sean to stab himself in the chest. Julian is terrified to see a bloody, but unscathed Leanne and apologizes to her. Incensed, Leanne pushes Julian down the basement stairs. She calls the ambulance for both of them and tells Sean she will never let him back into the house again. Later, Dorothy contacts the hospital and finds out Sean is okay. Strangely, he says that he will arrange for Toby to come over to pass some supplies to Dorothy. She answers the door when the doorbell rings but does not see Toby. Instead, she finds a hamper and a note by Sean, requesting to meet him outside without alerting Leanne. Dorothy is only able to sneak out the house after handing Jericho to Leanne for a bath. She makes it to the car, where Julian and Sean greet her. They realize the only way to remove Leanne's stranglehold on their family is to reveal the truth about Jericho. Dorothy is confused initially, but after Sean talks about the reborn doll, she recalls being in a catatonic state following Jericho's death. They bring Dorothy back into the house to have a final confrontation with Leanne. She calmly tells Dorothy that she could bring Jericho back to life for good with her powers and offers Dorothy a new life with just her and Jericho. Dorothy requests for a moment alone and tells Sean and Julian to wait for her in the car. A desperate Leanne pleads with Dorothy to accept her, but she ignores her and proceeds to mourn in Jericho's room. Heartbroken, Leanne goes to the roof and screams at God for not granting her the only thing she ever wanted, Dorothy's motherly love. Dorothy reaches out to a distraught Leanne and is grateful she had granted her months of extra time with Jericho. However, she does not want Leanne to bring Jericho back because the pain of losing him is also an important part of her love for him. Dorothy forgives Leanne and says she would have been proud to have a daughter like her. In return, Leanne assures Dorothy that Jericho forgives her, relieving Dorothy's guilt over the loss of his son. Dorothy then gets in the car with Sean and Julian, but Leanne decides to stay behind. She douses the house with gasoline and lights it on fire. Julian goes looking for Leanne and is shocked to find the entire house set ablaze. The Turners look on helplessly as the fire has spread too far for anyone to save her. In the attic, Leanne performs the ritual on herself. Following Leanne's death, peace returns to Philadelphia. The Turners are sad that Leanne is gone but hopeful for the future because they can now start over as a family. Julian is approached by Officer Reyes, who reminds him of how his heart had stopped from a drug overdose but was given a second chance at life, and with it a greater purpose. The end. Please stay tuned for the next TV recap. Comment below on what you liked or disliked about our video. Thank you for watching.